Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about pistol brace alternative, and specifically we're going to be talking about the tennis ball stock. Okay, so we're gonna try something out today. But for those of you that haven't been following gun news, the ATF this prior week came out with their finalized pistol brace ruling, which is confusing as hell, and I do not understand it. Okay, in fact, I was looking at a number of other channels that are run by gun lawyers, and they couldn't understand it. They said it was equally confusing. And from what I hear, the way this is going to work out is that it's going to be challenged in the courts, and there is a very high chance that this ATF pistol brace rule is going to be struck down unconstitutional on a number of different grounds. On the one hand, there's that West Virginia versus the EPA case where the federal court said that government bureaucracies basically cannot make up law. And on the other hand, there's also the Nysurpa versus Bruin decision that basically said that in order for any gun control to be constitutional, it has to have existed in 1791 when the Second Amendment was ratified, and clearly in 1791 there was no pistol braces. In fact, there was no rules, there was no laws regulating how you could build your guns, or even what guns you could own, or any of that. So, but that said, where we are right now, I mean, people are gonna ask me, should I take this off my rifle? And the answer is, wait and see. See what happens with the courts. That's my best idea on that. However, here's the thing: if you're going to be using your gun to shoot at a private gun range or a private gun club, I mean, I can tell you guys, as a range safety officer, in all the years that I've been a range safety officer, I never once asked anybody for paperwork. Okay? Whatever you show up to with the range, I assume that it's legal, okay, as a range safety officer. I never once asked people for paperwork, so you could show up with machine guns. As long as the range rules didn't prohibit you from shooting a machine gun, because if the range rules prohibited that, then I couldn't allow it. But if the range allowed it, I never once asked anybody to prove to me that their machine gun was legal. It's just not my job, man. It's not my job. So, what I advise at this point is that, yeah, sure, take it to private clubs, shoot it, have fun, because everything's very unsettled. Okay, but I don't recommend that you use something like this for home defense, because it's gonna, if you use this for self-defense, whether it's in your home or if you're keeping it as a truck gun, I definitely don't recommend that you keep this in your truck as a truck gun, with the brace on, because you don't know what kind of a cop you're gonna get. You don't know how much of a big deal they're gonna make out of it. So at this point, yeah, take it to the range, have fun with it. If anything, while you're transporting it, remove the brace, right? The transportation. But remember, it's legal for you to have the AR pistol. It is legal for you to have the brace. It's just a question of whether these two things, whether this can go on this and you can shoot it, and that is legally unknown at the moment. Okay, so for self-defense, for carrying this in your truck, right? Don't recommend this at this point with that brace on it. This is fine. Now, the question becomes, how about the tennis ball stock, all right? Because ATF didn't say anything about a tennis ball stock. So, let's do this. I'm going to take this little knife here, and I'm going to make a little hole in this. Let's make a hole in it like this. There we go. Okay, made a little hole. Is it big enough? I have to make it a little bit bigger. I don't want to go too big. There you go. So, what I got here. Hold on, I got an idea. gonna give this 2 eyeballs. Okay, so put an eyeball over here on my little tennis ball. Eyeball on this side, eyeball on that side, and what I got here now, what I have here now is Pac-Man. Okay, Pac-Man. Let's see if this will go on the back of this, or if I have to make this bigger. So I don't want to make it too big because I don't want it falling off. Is that the right size? Or do I have to go bigger? Yeah, almost got it. There we go. Got it. Here we go. There's my Pac-Man stock. Now, people might say that, hey, this is the very definition of complying, okay? That me doing this, me taking that brace off and putting this on is complying, which is unpatriotic to say the least, okay? But here's the thing. My thing to people is that, hey, if you end up in jail, okay, that basically takes you out of the fight, okay? Or if you end up running, you know, if you end up in the court system, that's basically making you combat ineffective as far as our fight against big government. So you wanna, you know, you need to stay in the fight, okay? So don't do stuff that's gonna get you pulled out of the fight. You need to be combat effective, okay? Resist, but do it in such a way that it doesn't take you out of the fight. So going to a private club, private gun range, where you know that you got guys like me there that are not going to enforce, that is basically, it's not my job to enforce government rules. You know, go there, resist there. Don't do it in a way that it's gonna, you know, it's gonna put you on the radar and make you a target. Because remember, if that happens to you, like let's say you get caught, you know, you get stopped with something like this in your car, and you end up being run through the court system. All those other guys online that were telling you, hey, don't comply, well, they're not going to be there. You're going to be on your own, okay? So that's one of the things you got to keep in mind, is that, you know, it's one thing for people to be saying don't comply on the internet, but all those other guys aren't going to be there. So you have to do it in such a way where you're resisting, but at the same time, you can remain in the fight, okay? Because the more people we have actively resisting, the more effective we are. So don't do something that's going to get you pulled out of the fight. Okay, let's test this out. So I don't know if I'm going to call this the tennis ball stock, or if I'm going to call this the Pac-Man stock. Don't know, but let's try this out. Hell yeah. Let's go out to 75 yards. Yep. More ammo. Try to get some hits at 75 yards with this. Yeah, that's way too close. Let's see. Actually, hold on. Let me put the safety on. We load up a few more in here. Try something different with this. So what do you guys think? Let me know. Are we going to call this the tennis ball stock, or are we going to call this the Pac-Man stock? You guys let me know which one you guys like better. All right, so we're going to try and bump fire this, all right? We're going to see if this tennis ball will bump fire. Okay, hold on, let's try this out. Now we got a bump there. So the way I'm bumping is, I'm putting my thumb on the outside. I'm basically hooking my finger like this. Gun's unsafe, right? Hooking my finger, and what I'm doing is I'm pulling the gun forward. And what's happening is the gun, as I pull the gun forward, it fires, and then as it recoils back, and then I pull it forward. So that's how the bump fire action occurs. So you don't need a special bump stock. In fact, you don't need a stock at all in order to bump fire. It's just what guns do. Okay. So the interesting thing about this is this actually follows. At some point, the ATF said that that shouldering the gun occasionally and incidentally was okay. Well, we did that today. We're testing it out. So we did the occasional and incidental touching while we were just trying to see if this was going to work. But for bump firing, the stock doesn't actually touch the shoulder. If I'm doing this with a full length stock, I put this on the outside of my shoulder to bump fire and pull it forward so it can rock back and forth. With the shorter stock, I can actually keep it right here. I'm actually pulling it forward. This is never actually touching. It's never actually touching my chest. So yeah, we're actually following ATF rules here by not touching the tennis ball to our shoulder. Let's do a little bit more. Let's see if we can bump this a little bit more. Now with practice, you get better. This is a practice thing. Even if you had one of the original bump stocks, right? You still had to practice with it and get it good. There was plenty of people that I'd seen that had a bump stock from Slide Fire, and they couldn't get it to work because you gotta get the tension. You gotta get the tensions right. Okay. Same deal with this. You gotta practice with it in order to get the tensions right. I'm a little out of practice right now, but let's see if I can get this bump a little bit more. And not only am I bumping, but I'm actually getting hits on target because I'm actually able to aim. Right? A lot of people, some people bump by putting their thumb around their belt loop or something. I never did that. When I bump, I always do it in such a way that I can aim at the target and get hits when I practice my bump firing. That's it. We have to, yeah, we're right. All right, so that is today's entertaining video. We got here I don't know, you guys let me know. Are we going to call this the tennis ball stock, or are we going to call this the Pac-Man stock? Okay, let me know what you guys think. Drop some comments below. We'll talk to you guys soon. And remember, enjoy yourselves, have fun, because that's the main thing that we're doing, right? We're just mainly having fun. This is what shooting is really all about. It's about having fun. And remember, resist, but do it in such a way that you can stay in the fight. Don't get yourself pulled out of the fight, because then you're not helpful to the rest of us if you're out of the fight. You gotta stay in the fight to be helpful to the rest of us. I'll talk to y'all soon.